Hello everybody, it's Brian for GadgetUnit.com, and in this video I'll be taking a look at the HTC One A9 smartphone. This unlocked model will run you $499, and it is compatible on both T-Mobile and AT&T in the US, and I would like to thank HTC for sending this over to me for review. If the carbon gray color that I have isn't for you, they do have opal silver, deep garnet, and topaz gold options, but I have to say that the carbon gray model does look quite nice. The full specs can be found in the written review that's linked down below in this video's description. So first let's talk about the hardware, and it obviously looks like one of its competitors, but that's not really a bad thing at all. The all-metal body feels really good in the hand. It certainly does feel premium, and to me it does have just the right amount of weight to it. The only physical hardware buttons that you'll find are located on the right, which includes the volume rocker and the textured power button. The top has the IR blaster, while the left has the micro SD card slot and the nano SIM tray. And along the bottom we do have the speaker, micro USB 2.0 port, bottom microphone, and 3.5mm headset jack. The curved back of the A9 is very comfortable to hold in the hand, and on the back we do have a protruding camera, the dual color LED flash, and a rear microphone right below the camera. There's also a little bit of HTC branding. Lastly, moving on to the front, we do have a curved piece of glass along the sides. The curved nature of the glass makes certain gestures very natural feeling. The top does have a multicolor LED for notification activity. There's also a pretty wide earpiece and the front-facing camera to the right of it. You then have the 5-inch Full HD display with some HTC branding right below it. Then we do have a pill-shaped fingerprint sensor, which also acts as a button. It's not a physical button, it's more of a touch-sensitive button, and it works very well. You can use it to wake up the device, and you could also use it to go to your home screen, make purchases, and so on. It works very quickly. The fingerprint reader, it's fast, it's accurate. I haven't really had any issues with it, and I really do like the way it's sized. One final thing to note about the design is that even though it does have a smooth metal body, it's actually pretty grippy. It's much more grippier than my iPhone 6 Plus, which is extremely slippery in my opinion. But overall, I really do like the design of the A9. Moving on to the speaker, this is probably the weakest point of the A9. Unlike other HTC devices that have dual front-facing speakers called boom sound speakers, the A9 only has one downward firing speaker, and it doesn't really get that loud, and even when you do have it at max volume, it does distort quite a bit. I would really only use the speaker for very brief speakerphone calls and very brief periods of listening to music. You'll definitely want to use a pair of headphones for doing those things long term. What's actually quite good is the display. It's bright, crisp, and usable in sunlight. It also has great viewing angles. It's pretty much just a great all-around display. I believe that this is HTC's first smartphone that runs Android 6.0, also known as Marshmallow. It's not a huge upgrade over the previous version of Android, but it does have a number of small things that are pretty nice, such as per-app privacy options, better power management, and more. HTC still has their Sense overlay on top of Android. It's not quite as intrusive as previous versions of Sense, but some things that I liked in those previous versions are now gone, such as the notification and toggle panel, as well as the previous multitasking interface. I just found that both of those things were a little bit better than what we have now, which is basically pulled right from stock Android 6.0. Sense also has some custom sounds, wallpapers, icons, an app drawer, and more. But it's really not a bad setup overall. It was very usable and I did find it quite enjoyable. The only bit of software-based frustration that I found was when using HTC's keyboard. It's downright terrible. The autocorrect is very bad. The same also goes when you're using the swipe keyboard. But fortunately, there are plenty of third-party alternatives to take a look at. Performance is actually quite good. A lot of people were worried about the Snapdragon 617 CPU. It is an 8-core processor. I didn't really notice any performance issues at all. Everything felt very snappy, animations were smooth, applications launched quickly, web pages loaded fast, scrolling through social media apps were just fine. Games could have been a tad more smoother and more consistent in terms of frame rates, but they were totally playable. Paired with the 3 gigs of RAM, multitasking was never an issue either. Battery life also wasn't really a problem. I was able to go through the entire day with roughly 15 to 20% remaining at the end of it, and that was without using any of the 2 battery saver modes. Neither of the battery saver modes are actually customizable in terms of what you decrease or what you disable, but given the size of the battery, it handles keeping the phone powered throughout the day a piece of cake. Call quality was just fine. I tested this on T-Mobile US, and it does support HD voice, voice over LTE, band 12 LTE, and Wi-Fi calling. HD voice quality was just fine from the earpiece. Data speeds were plenty fast and usable. It did hold on to weaker LTE signals without any problems. I never lost LTE at all when using the A9, even in areas where my 6 Plus would sometimes fall back to HSPA Plus or Edge. Next up, the camera quality. The camera could have been a tad better. While it does launch quickly and it takes photos quickly, focusing wasn't exactly perfect, and photos in general could have been a little bit better. Still, the camera's not bad by any means, but while most of today's $500 plus smartphones support 4K video recording, or at least 1080p at 60 FPS, the A9 can only record video at 1080p 30. For most people this is fine, but it would have been nice to see something better at this price point. Fortunately, the camera does have optical image stabilization, which is certainly a welcomed feature. By default, the camera app is in its simple mode, but a pro mode is available, which lets you adjust several different things such as exposure, white balance, ISO, and more, and it does shoot in RAW if you would like. So to conclude, with more and more smartphones entering every price point nowadays, the A9 is certainly up against fierce competition. There are a number of different smartphones, some of which are actually cheaper than the A9, that are also made out of premium materials that do offer all-around great user experiences. The bottom line is whether or not you're willing to shell out the $500 for something that may be better priced at $375. However, if you don't mind paying the full $500 price, you'll probably be pretty happy with what you just got. If you have any comments, questions, or feedback about this or anything else, feel free to leave everything down below in the comments area. But that's it with this video. So thanks a lot for watching, and I'll talk to you all very soon.